Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. And if it is Second Amendment news that you seek, you have found the place. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. You can do that right here. And also toggle that bell icon to all notifications. That way you'll be notified of when I put out new content. It's basically on a daily basis, sometimes several times a day, depending on what's popping off in the country. And it's been very busy lately. So if you want to stay up to date with the attacks that we face around the nation, Guns and Gadgets might be the best place for you to find that. So please consider joining, and I hope you get some information of use out of the channel. Let's move on to something that's going on in Ohio. It's been going on kind of quietly, but it's really something that every state should be focusing on. And that has to do with armed teachers. So if you're not familiar with what's been going on over the last couple of years there are some school districts that have chosen to arm their teachers. Now, it's not a mandatory thing. The teachers would have to volunteer to carry the gun throughout their day, but there was also some mandated training that they would have to undertake. Obviously, you don't want to throw a gun on a bobo who's never done anything and have them, have negligent discharges or, not act correct when it comes to a firearm. You all know what I'm talking about. So the school district we're going to talk about today is the Madison School District in Butler County, Ohio. Now, they had adopted a policy a while ago that would allow teachers to carry as a first line of defense against an active shooter. Kind of makes sense, right? However, shortly after this policy went into effect, some of the parents got very, very concerned, and they filed a lawsuit to try to stop that. And who did they go see to try to stop any progress with the Second Amendment? That's right, Michael Bloomberg. They went to his anti-gun law firm, which is called Everytown Law. Imagine that. And of course, Mr. Bloomberg would help them stop any type of progress because anytime there's an effort to make it look like the criminals are the criminals and not those people who are just doing the right thing all the time, we're not the problem. Our firearms not the issue. Michael Bloomberg has to get in and stomp on that, right? So the Bloomberg law firm took it to court, and surprisingly, a district judge upheld that policy. However, Mr. Anti-Gun Czar was not happy with that, so his law firm appealed, and the 12th Appellate Court in Ohio ruled on this, and their ruling is just unfathomable, and I'll tell you why. Try to stick with this one. So the court ruled that armed teachers must have the same training as police officers, and that's before they can carry. Now, I will tell you, as a trainer of civilians and police officers, that the basic fundamental firearms school that every academy has is 40 hours. More or less, it's a 40-hour course everywhere in the nation. Some places add a couple extra days for rifle here or there now, or they're trying to expand it, but money always is an issue. And I'll tell you that the 40-hour class is a joke. It's a basic introduction to firearms, which you have to do because not everybody going in knows how to use a gun. Same with the military. Not everybody going in knows how to shoot. So it's basically to take somebody from ground zero and so that they're competent with the firearm and can work within the policies and use of force continuum and, defend the lives of themselves or others. Now, to demand that these teachers have the same type of training is where this kind of gets a little shady. The school district is now appealing that case to the Ohio State Supreme Court, and I really think that they're going to have an easy victory here. And what they're saying in their brief to the State Supreme Court is that the 12th Appellate Court erroneously read Ohio law as requiring armed staff to undergo law enforcement training. So the way that they haven't the appellate court had read this or determined this that a teacher would have to go to the police academy, be trained as a police officer, and then go back to the school and protect the kids. Now, I don't even have to ask people. That doesn't make any sense. He or she is a teacher. They're not trying to be cops. They just want to have their constitutional rights afforded to them while they're in the workplace so that they can help protect the kids. It's always, what about the kids, right? But here's a chance to protect them. A bigger issue here that is starting to gain a little bit of attention is that the training that the teachers have been required to take It's called FASTER, the FASTER program, and I actually have that moniker here. The FASTER program, it means the Faculty and Administrator Safety Training and Emergency Response. And it's a 3-day class with 26 hours of hands-on instruction. So right away, they're pretty close to that, the basic police firearms class in the academy. They're really close already. Throw in another day and they got it. They already have the training that's required. And why do I say that? Because the FASTER system training that they were required to take is funded by the legislature. So the legislature of Ohio has dictated that this is the class you shall take to be an armed teacher. And these teachers are taking it, and then all of a sudden, one judge says, no, they're not supposed to take that class. They got to be cops. Makes no sense at all. Even the state's attorney general got involved, and he agrees with the school system. AG David Yost is the name. He said that if teachers are required to undergo hundreds of hours of law enforcement training, it will simply result in a ban on armed school staff. Also, the AG's office came out with the numbers of how much it costs a district to send a staffer through this training that they're already going through. And like I said, that's funded by the legislature. But if they were to be trained as peace officers, it would cost $7,265 to send each staffer through peace officer training at Butler Tech, which is a school that they do some training at, apparently. Plus, the program is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It would take over 18 weeks to complete. So how could you still be a teacher in the classroom setting and do a full-blown police academy? Doesn't make any sense at all. And this all comes down to the judge at the appellate level reading or interpreting the law incorrectly. Instead of the training that they were mandated to take, said they need to be trained as police officers, which we all know you don't have to be a cop to carry a gun. In fact, as a trainer, most of the people out on the street carrying a gun just because they can are better shooters than most police officers out there. And I'll tell you another thing, that I don't know the guys or the gals who teach at this FASTER class, but probably a lot better trained at that class than they would be at this police mandated training that Bloomberg's trying to force on their hands. So yeah, there's a lot better trainers out there than, as far as standards or skill level, than what recruits get at the recruit level, because you have to teach to the lowest common denominator. You can't just have everybody in a police academy try to train with Reed Hendricks, because it doesn't happen that way. You have to start from the ground up. So I guarantee these teachers' class, the 26 hours over 3 days, they're probably getting better instruction there than they would in academies. So hopefully every town law gets their rear ends handed to them on this one, because it's obviously a blatant attempt at trying to ban the ability of teachers to carry, because they're trying to inundate the system with money, and replacing that teacher while they're out at a police academy makes no sense at all. Hopefully the state Supreme Court takes this case and sees right through the malarkey. It's a Joe Biden term. But I'll have the update as soon as it hits here on the channel. So if there's something that you want to follow, or if there's school systems in your state that might be moving towards this, you're going to want to pay attention to this. So please join the channel if you haven't already. Now, I'll give you a quick little note as well. There is another conference scheduled in the United States Supreme Court this week for those 10 Second Amendment cases that they have passed on 2 consecutive conferences now in a row. And the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case that they took up and ultimately dismissed, it went through 3 conferences before they actually decided to issue a writ of certiorari. So those will be conferenced again. I'm looking at it right now. The official Supreme Court calendar says they will conference on Thursday, which would be tomorrow, the 21st. However, it said Thursday last week as well, and they stayed with their more traditional Friday schedule for conferencing. So I'm pretty sure they'll do it Friday this week. However, Monday is when we would hear about the court orders, but Monday's a holiday, and they're not going to work. So probably Tuesday morning we'll get our results and see what happens. Cautiously optimistic. However, if you follow it around the nation, there's a lot of talk about the types of cases in front of them, and it'll be a lot of people say it's going to be hard for them not to take something, But hey, it's been a decade, right? So what's another 4 years for them? However, the updates will be here, so please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry your weapon. Take care, everybody.